You're standing at the trailhead in Zion National Park. Angels Landing towers above you. Best name ever. You think about it as you adjust your pack. Angels Landing. Like angels actually touch down there. Like it's their personal rest stop between heaven and earth. The Mormon settlers who named it said only angels could land on that summit. They had no idea how right they were. But here's what you don't know yet. Sometimes angels don't descend from above. Sometimes they climb up from depths you can't imagine. Sometimes they speak with German accents, softened by decades of choosing hope over bitterness. Sometimes they've got numbers tattooed on their arms. You don't know any of this yet. Right now, you're just another hiker. Confident. Prepared. You've done your research. You've got your water, your snacks, your good boots. You're ready. You have no idea what's waiting for you up there. 5 miles. That's what the sign says. 5 miles round trip. You're thinking, that's nothing. I've done longer. The first 2 miles lull you into false confidence. You're in the canyon's shade. The Virgin River whispers stories far below. The red walls rise around you like cathedral architecture. You're taking photos. You're feeling good. Your legs are strong. Your breathing is easy. Then you hit Walter's Wiggles. 21 switchbacks carved directly into the cliff face. Your legs start burning by the 5th. By the 10th, you're negotiating with yourself. By the 15th, you're questioning your life choices. By the 21st, you're just trying not to let the family with small children see you struggling. You reach Scout Lookout. There's a composting toilet here, which feels like luxury. A place to rest. Other hikers sprawled on rocks, some looking triumphant, some looking defeated. And there's a sign. The sign that makes your stomach drop. It doesn't say people die here in those exact words, but between the warnings and the statistics and the turn back now if you have fear of heights, that's exactly what it's saying. You look ahead. The final half-mile stretches before you like a tightrope made of stone. You watch other hikers starting up. They look tiny against the massive spine of rock. They're moving slowly, carefully. Their hands never leave the chains. The chains. You can see them glinting in the sun. Your lifeline. Your only insurance policy against becoming a statistic. You take a breath. You've come this far. You're not turning back now. The first section with chains, your confidence returns a bit. This isn't so bad, you tell yourself. The chain is cold under your palm, solid, reassuring. But then the ridge narrows, and narrows, and narrows. Now you understand. Now you get why they call it exposure. There's nothing between you and a 1,000-foot fall except your grip and your focus. The wind picks up, pushing against you like it's testing your resolve. Every step requires complete presence. You're not thinking about work, about bills, about anything except hand, chain, foot, rock, repeat. Your palms are sweating. The chain is slippery. You have to keep wiping your hands on your shorts. Other hikers are coming down, and you have to navigate around each other on this ribbon of rock. Everyone's eyes have the same look, concentrated, primal, alive. You know the spot. If you've done Angel's Landing, your body remembers it even if your mind tries to forget. The rock narrows to almost nothing. The chain is on your right, but you need to traverse left. It's this awkward, exposed move where you're essentially hugging the rock face while shuffle-stepping across a ledge the width of a pizza box. You've done this hike before. Maybe that's why you're moving a bit too casually, a bit too confident. You're thinking about how you'll describe this to friends later. You're already crafting the story in your head. Your left hand grips the chain. Your right foot is planted. Your left foot reaches for the next foothold. And then, sand. Invisible, treacherous sand on sandstone. Your boot skids. Time dilates. You know this sensation, when your brain suddenly processes everything in ultra-high definition slow motion. You feel your weight shifting, your center of gravity moving past the point of no return, your sweaty palm sliding along the chain, the metal burning your skin as it slips through your grip. You're falling. Your mind does that thing where it accepts what's happening with weird calm. Oh, so this is how it happens. This is how I become one of those stories. And then a hand, not grabbing at you, holding you. There's a difference. Grabbing is desperate, panicked. This hand holds you with absolute certainty, like catching you was never in question. Your first instinct is to look at what's holding you, not who, what. It's an arm that shouldn't exist on this mountain. Ancient, paper-thin skin stretched over bird bones, wrinkles so deep they look like erosion patterns, purple veins visible through translucent flesh. This is an old person's arm, not just old. Old. But the grip is iron, absolute, unwavering. Then you see them, the numbers, faded blue-black, crude, tattooed decades ago when tattoos weren't art but identification, when humans were inventory. Your brain can't process the contradiction. This arm, this impossibly old, impossibly fragile arm, is holding your entire body weight on the edge of a cliff. It's not straining, it's not shaking, it's just holding. You look up. The face matches the arm in years, deep canyons of wrinkles, skin spotted and weathered. But the eyes are young, bright, alert, and somehow, impossibly, amused. He's smiling, not the tight smile of effort, not the grimace of strain, a real smile, like he's been waiting for this exact moment, like he knew you'd slip right here, right now, and he'd be ready. He pulls you back to solid ground with one smooth motion, no grunt of effort, no struggle, just lifts you back onto the ledge like you weigh nothing. Your feet find rock, your hands find the chain again, your heart hammers against your ribs like it's trying to escape. It gets worse as you climb. The accent is German, thick but gentle, stones worn smooth by time. His hand is still on your arm, steadying you, making sure you're really okay. His grip is warm now, calming. But it gets better too. You stand there, mouth opening and closing like you're drowning in air. What do you say? Thank you. That's nothing. That's nowhere near enough. Thank you for saving my life. Still pathetically inadequate. Thank you for being here at 90-something years old, after surviving what those numbers represent, still climbing mountains and catching strangers who slip. There are no words for that. You climb together after that. No introductions, no names. Sometimes the most profound connections need neither. You watch him move. Every step is deliberate, economical. There's no wasted energy, no hesitation. At sections where athletic 20-somethings are white-knuckling the chains, catching their breath, psyching themselves up, he flows through like water finding its path through stone. Halfway up the final approach, there's a chimney section. You have to wedge yourself between two rocks and shimmy up. Young, fit hikers are struggling, taking breaks, building up courage. He pauses, studies it, looks at you. You know what I learned? Not waiting for your answer. The mountain doesn't care how strong you are. It cares how steady you are. Steady always wins. He moves through it like he's done it 1,000 times. You reach a small plateau, a resting spot before the final push to the summit. Other hikers are scattered around, catching their breath, eating energy bars. He sits on a rock that looks like it was carved just for him. Pulls out a metal water bottle that looks older than you are. My granddaughter, he says, pulling out his phone. The case is one of those thick, protective ones. His fingers navigate the screen with surprising dexterity. Shows you a photo. Beautiful young woman, maybe 25, in graduation cap and gown. She thinks I'm Meshuggah, crazy, climbing at my age. He puts the phone away, looks out at the vast expanse of Zion, red rock monuments stretching to the horizon, the Virgin River a silver thread far below. But how do you explain? He gestures at everything. The canyon, the sky, you sitting there trying to understand what just happened. How do you explain that every sunrise is a gift you once thought was stolen forever? Every mountain is a miracle you never thought you'd see. You know then. You'd known from the numbers, but now you know. When? You ask. I was 14, Buchenwald. 3 years. 3 years. 14 to 17. The years you're supposed to learn to drive, have your first kiss, worry about algebra tests, not survive hell. After liberation, he continues, his voice steady as his climbing, I promised myself. Every mountain I could climb, I would climb. Every hand I could extend, I would extend. Every day above ground is a day above ground, yes? He stands, brushes off his pants with hands that saved you. Come, the summit is waiting. Angel's Landing's summit is tiny, maybe the size of a school bus, a little island of rock floating in an ocean of air. You sit there together, two strangers who aren't strangers anymore. Around you, people are taking selfies, eating sandwiches, celebrating their conquest. But you two just sit, looking out, taking in the impossible beauty of it all. The Virgin River threads through the canyon floor like a silver snake. The great white throne rises like something out of mythology. Observation point across the way, higher but somehow less mighty. 91, he says suddenly. What? I'm 91 years old. 91, on Angel's Landing, after Buchenwald. The numbers, he says, touching his arm absently. They tried to make us less than human. Numbers instead of names. Things instead of people. He turns to you, those impossible young eyes in that ancient face. But they failed. You know why? Because humans do this. He gestures at the chains below. We build chains for strangers we'll never meet. We reach out when someone falls. We climb impossible things just to see what's up there. We leave water caches in deserts for people we'll never know. We hold each other. That's what makes us human. A couple asks if you could move so they could get a photo. You both scoot over. They thank you profusely. He beams at them like they're his own grandchildren. You want to know the real miracle? He says after they leave. It's not that I survived. Many survived. The miracle is that I can still see beauty, that I can sit here with you after you almost fell and feel joy, pure joy. They couldn't take that. They tried to take everything, but they couldn't take that. You sit with that for a moment, the weight of it, the impossibility of it. Fear, he says, like he's reading your thoughts. Fear is just your body keeping you alive. But fear of living, that's the real cliff. That's the real fall. Going down is harder than going up. Gravity becomes your enemy. Every step wants to become a tumble. The chains are even more critical now. Your knees shake with each downward step. He leads the way, patient, steady. At the tricky sections, he pauses, waits for you, makes sure you have good footing before moving on. Teaching without teaching, guiding without words. At that same spot where you slipped, you freeze. Your body remembers. Your hands grip the chains so tight your knuckles go white. He notices. Of course he notices. The rock is the same, he says quietly, but you're different now. You know it can slip. That makes you wiser, not weaker, wiser. You take the step, then another. You make it across. Further down, a young family is frozen. Mom, dad, 2 kids, maybe 10 and 12. The kids are fine. Kids don't know enough to be scared properly, but the parents are paralyzed. They can see exactly how far they'd fall. They can't move forward, can't move back. He approaches them like he's approaching spooked horses. Calm, slow. Beautiful children, he says to them, strong like mountains. Then to the kids, your parents are very brave. It takes courage to be scared and keep going. You watch them, yes? You learn. To the parents, quieter. They're watching you be brave. That's all. Just be brave for 2 more minutes. I'll stay right here. He talks them through it, tells them about the flowers that grow in the cracks, points out a condor circling below. Below, asks where they're from. Anything but the drop. They make it through. The mother has tears in her eyes. The father shakes his hand like he's never going to let go. We all need steadying sometimes, he says simply. At the trailhead, you prepare to part. You can see a red Honda in the parking lot. A young woman standing beside it, checking her phone, looking worried. Your granddaughter? He nods. She worries. It's what love looks like sometimes. You want to say something meaningful, something that captures what just happened up there, but all you have is thank you. He takes your hand, both of his around yours. His skin feels like paper and steel at the same time. Listen to me. His voice is serious now, the accent thicker. What I told you on the mountain. It gets worse, but it gets better. This is true for everything. Everything. You remember this when life narrows, when you're holding chains in the dark, when the ground disappears. It gets better. He starts walking toward his granddaughter, stops, turns back. You know what I didn't tell you? The worst part wasn't the camp. The worst part was after. When I was free but didn't know how to be free. When I had survived but didn't know how to live. That's when I found mountains. Mountains don't care what you've been through. They only care if you take the next step. His granddaughter is approaching now, worry and relief fighting for control of her face. Zaid, you can't just disappear like that. He winks at you. I don't disappear. I climb. She takes his arm, starts leading him to the car. Then she stops, looks back at you. He does this, you know, finds people who need finding. It's his thing. You stand there as they drive away, a 91-year-old Holocaust survivor and his granddaughter, taillights disappearing into the rest of their lives. You still think about him, every day. You never got his name. It doesn't matter. What matters is this. Somewhere out there is a 91-year-old man with numbers on his arm who still climbs mountains, who still reaches out his hand when strangers slip, who still believes it gets better even when it gets worse. You think about those numbers, how someone tried to reduce him to inventory, tried to subtract his humanity, and how spectacularly they failed, because 70-plus years later, he's pulling strangers back from the edge on a mountain called Angel's Landing. You think about the chains on that mountain, how someone bolted them there for strangers they'd never meet, how thousands of hands have gripped them, how they connect everyone who's ever climbed. You think about his hand holding yours, how it shouldn't have been strong enough, how it was. Angel's Landing. They say only angels can land there. Now you know better. Angels don't just land there. Sometimes they climb up from the deepest valleys humans can create. Sometimes they've survived the unsurvivable and still choose to reach out. Sometimes they save you twice, once from falling off a mountain, once from forgetting what humans can endure and still choose joy. It gets worse as you climb, but it gets better. It always gets better if you keep climbing. And if you remember, when you see someone slip, when their grip fails, when they pass that point of no return, you reach out. You don't grab. You hold. Because that's what makes us human. That's what makes us angels to each other. Even on a mountain, especially on a mountain.